And I think that's Akshay just typing out the India squad as we speak, because here is some breaking news on cricket.com. We had to give you what you wanted to hear, and we're going to dissect it in the next half an hour. The World Cup squad has been picked by the BCCI for that World Cup in the US and the Caribbean. My name's Abni Shagde, watching this cricket.com live with Akshay and Nikhil right now. We're all just kind of figuring our stuff out. I was on my off, but we'll make it a four-man panel as we get Jeet in just a moment's time. But let's just, of course, address the elephants in the room. Rohit Sharma will lead Team India. That is, of course, confirmed. Hardik Pandya will be his deputy. There are some surprising calls, I should say, with Samson, Chahal, but they, of course, deserve to be there. Let's make no mistake about it. We're going to have some subjective calls. We're going to be bantering each other in terms of disputing. Akshay and Jadeja are in the squads. Gill is in the reserve. Rinku misses out. Khalil's inclusion. So much to talk about with Nikhil Popat and Akshay Kumaraswamy. Nikhil, I want to ask you, that 15, is it a World Cup winning 15?
You'd hope so. It's a lot of ifs and buts. Fairly expected squad. The biggest one for me is Rinku. I still can't get around my head that why Rinku isn't part of the squad that has both Akshay and Jadeja. You could have easily had one in the reserves. But, I mean, the things that they're there, I'm happier for Samson. Finally, he's found a way to sneak in at the right point at the right time. Chahal was a good surprise. So I think overall, fairly expected one. But I still feel Rinku should definitely have been part of the main 15, that is.
100%. We're just putting it in the ticker. We'll get the graphics out in a bit, but this is what the BCCI put out, remember, on Twitter in complete US theme style, if I may say, Akshay. And Rohit Sharma, Jaiswal, Kohli, Surya, Pant, Samson, Pandya, Dube, Jadeja, Akshay, Kuldeep, Chahal, Arshdeep, Bumrah, and Siraj. Now, does that sound like a team that you wanted to pick? And how many differences of opinion can you already spot, Akshay Kumaraswamy?
I genuinely don't know what to make of this side because on the one hand, there's Khalil Ahmed who's surprisingly made it to the travelling reserves, and then I see Yuzvendra Chahal walking into the T20 World Cup side, something I genuinely did not see coming. And also, if you look at some of the names, Rinku Singh is surely a very surprising miss. I know that he's not had a lot of game time during the IPL, but I mean that's not his fault, and neither is it KKR's fault. Like, there's a lot of recency bias that seems to have kicked in. And I'm also surprised a bit with the fact that both Jadeja and Akshay have made it to the 15 because they offer very similar skill sets. So I don't know how will both of them ever feature in the 11. It's always going to be an either or situation with the two of them. Bumrah, Arshdeep, Siraj are on expected lines. But again, I'm not entirely happy with it because based on current form at least, Hardeep and Siraj have done very little to convince us. I seriously thought Avish Khan and Natarajan even should have been, given a go-ahead. Neither of them have seemed to sort of, made the cut. And then Rishabh Pant, of course, who got see Rishabh Pant there.
Yeah, it just makes you think, man, whether this is the World Cup winning 15, and we'll bring on another man who has a different opinion, and I'd love to get what Jeet has to say in this broadcast right now. Jeet, good to see you as well. How do you think it's all going to shape up for the men in blue? Because the familiar faces are there. They've not fluffed their lines with not taking Roko, which is good to see. Maybe some people would beg to differ with me. But how do you kind of assess it? First up, first thoughts.
First thoughts is that this is a very good squad. Some of them were expected, right? I mean, you knew that, of course. Rohit as a skipper is going to be there. Virat Kohli is going to be there. Potentially the last World Cup for both of them. So I'm personally really happy. They have actually picked someone like Sanju Samson on merit. I was thinking that, there is a good chance that the Indian selectors might follow the same pattern and continue with KL Rahul as a primary keeper or a backup keeper, with Rishabh Pant being the other keeper. But I'm glad that Sanju Samson has been picked finally, which is a huge relief. Someone like Yuzvendra Chahal also has been, given a nod ahead of quite a few others who are struggling. So I'm personally really happy. I know that, Indian fans are such that, no matter what happens, no matter what the 15 is picked, they will be unhappy about something or the other, right? At the end of the day, this is a squad that I look at and see as being really strong to actually fight it out to take the crown eventually. It's not entirely bad. There will be a few things here and there. Some like Rinku Singh is questionable. But besides that, I feel this is a ridiculously good squad that India have announced. So I'm really happy with it.
We finally have it after ages.
After
Well
ages, I
done,
mean,
Hardik.
it's been a while that we've done a preview. But look, Akshay, coming to you, and then I'll get Nick's thoughts, of course, and every individual in that squad right now. Can we already now second guess the 11? Because 19, 15, can we guess the 11 right now, Akshay, given that graphic?
Yeah, I mean, most of them pick themselves that way. I don't think there's a lot to sort of worry about in terms of how the 11 is going to look. So Sharma and Kohli to open. I'm hoping Samson bats at 3, Sky at 4, then Dube at 5, Pandya at 6, Jadeja / Akshay at 7. So number 7 is probably the only place where they'll have to debate who comes in. Do they want a bit more of batting? Do they want a bit more of bowling? They'll have to probably look at that. So number 7 is probably sort of very similar to the conundrum they had during the World Cup. There it was more of the number 8 spot that they had to think about. And यहाँ पे number 8 will be Kuldeep. 9, 10, 11 will be 3 pacers. Bumrah, of course, picks himself. Siraj and Singh, by virtue of being the only other 2 pace options in the squad, will also make it. Maybe, just maybe, in case the surface demands it, they might go for Chahal instead of one of the pace options. But yeah, most of them pick themselves here.
Okay, time to just pan into some comments right now before I get Nick's thoughts on our various issues about this squad. And it's good to see that everyone's joining us in this impromptu afternoon chat. And why wouldn't you guys? Because it is, of course, massive breaking news heading into that World Cup. Nani Kofo, I see you in the chat. Our death hitting in bowling is a travesty, he goes on to say. Also, so many people who value their wicket in T20. Faraz has jumped in saying extremely unfair and Rinku and Bishnoi, in my opinion. Rinku on the way to become another Tripathi, saying such a part there. I mean, yeah, we really, really feel for him, given that he was part of India's T20 squad prior to the IPL as well. And then again, Uralax echoing the same song and the same tones. How is Rinku in backup? Doesn't make any sense. And Pandya is the only finisher now, saying Harman is on. Look, good to see a lot of people jumping on. Please like and subscribe if you guys are new and ask us any question. We're more than happy to take it because, like we have, of course, harped about in the next 10 minutes, or we have in the last 10 minutes, this is massive news. Right, I want to ask you all, is it a guarantee, Nikhil Popat, that Rohit and Virat will open the batting for India? Because I have a feeling that they will slot Virat one down. As much as I don't like it, I want Virat to open with Rohit, what they're doing in the IPL in batting positions right now. Where do you sit in it?
Yeah, it's a very tricky one. Now that there is no Rinku, I was happy to bat Virat and Rohit up top because I wanted that option of Rinku in the middle order. But now that is not there. It's very interesting that they've picked Shivam and they also have Samson. And they also have Sky, who you want to bat at 3. I don't think Sky should be batting below 4. So that makes it tricky that, okay, then Samson bats at 4, Dube bats at 5. So then you have Hardik at 6. But for Samson to bat at 4, you need Sky to bat at 3. So you can't pick all 3 of Rohit, Jaiswal and Virat. So I think it's a double-edged sword that you'll have to take. I think it's probably fairer also if you open with Rohit and Virat. Give them the entire freedom that they want. Please just don't think about getting out, whatever's to follow. Just go and hit because you have a lot of people follow. You have Sky, you have Samson, you have Dube. So those are 3 different varieties taken care of. Spin hit are done. Pace also you can take care of. And then, of course, your keeping is also sorted if you start with Samson. I think Samson should probably start on form. Pant stays as backup. That will help you push Shivam also if you want to hit spin. Okay? That is something that I'm looking forward to. How many actual World Cup squads don't bowl spin to Shivam because IPL sides haven't bowled spin to him. So I think if they start with Jaiswal, it will be tricky to fit all of them in that level.
Jeet, do you agree with those thoughts? And personally, who would you want to see? Because, of course, Jaiswal's been brilliant, 100 the other day for RR, and we know his potential, and we know how many World Cups he'll get. So do you think that, again, like the BCCI often do, go down the sentimental reason, and they would probably pick Rohit and Virat to open? And would that actually be the best option?
Well, I'll be really surprised if they actually go on to continue with Rohit and Kohli as openers. I believe they will back Kohli at number 3 and open with Jaiswal and Rohit to have the left-hand right-hand opening combination, which is really vital. But I'll tell you the disadvantage of that. If you have Rohit and Kohli opening, it allows you an extra bowling option. By opening with Jaiswal and Rohit, it minimizes that option that you've got down the order. I personally would still back Rohit and Jaiswal do the job, and Kohli has been tremendous at number 3 for India in the T20 World Cups. So I'm going to continue backing him at number 3. I'll probably have someone like Sky at 4. Sanju Samson over Rishabh Pant at number 5. but then I'll have both of Dube and Hardik Pandya on my side to have the option of somebody who can bass spin in the middle order, a left-handed batter who can bass spin in the middle order, and then Hardik Pandya, then one of Jadeja or Akshar Patel, Kuldeep, Bumrah, and Arshdeep. So that's basically going to leave India with 4 pace options and 2 spin options. That's how I'm going to go about it.
4,
Akshay.
that includes Dube and Pandya. I
That
understand
Dube.
where Jeet is coming from. I'm guessing that's also going to be the most likely option in terms of how India look at this. But I'm not sure if I agree with. I'm not saying I don't agree with Jeet, but I'm not sure if I agree with Team India selections there. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is what Team India is going to do. Come to think of it, yes, Avni, sorry.
Akshay, let me ask you one thing, right? Essentially, wild shout, would you play Samson and Pant in that starting 11? Now that Rinku's not there, given that Pant's a left-hander, and I know there's Dube as well, and I'm not discounting that they might not play Jaiswal, they might play Jaiswal, but just the fact that can you accommodate some Samson and Pant at all? I know it's wishful thinking, but can we?
Only if Rohit and Kohli both decide to bowl. Nahi to there's no way on earth both Pant, Samson come in, or without Dube being, one of the casualties there. Because how do you fit that? And the more I look at it, yeah, of course, Team India is going to do Rohit and Jaiswal and Kohli at 3, Sky at 4. There's a very likely chance that Pant starts over Samson, to be honest, come to think of it, because they would want another left-hander there. Then Dube and then Pandya, and then of course, yeah, you have your usual suspects when it comes to the lower order. Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to
I
be
just
very
want to
hard.
ask, okay, fine. Bigger question for the chat, and of course, 3 of you guys. Where is Hardik Pandya going to bat? Because if he bats at 5, essentially, then Pant goes lower, or how does that work that way? If he bats at 6, Hardik needs to start doing the heavy lifting for Mumbai just to give us conviction as Indian fans. Next.
Yeah, I think it is something that I'm looking forward to in terms of entry points. So I don't think it will be more slot oriented. I potentially feel they'll have to use everybody in their right entry spots, which is why I think if you bat Jaiswal up top, it is going to, unfortunately, given how the squad is, it will probably ruin everybody's entry point, because somebody will always overlap over the other. So, which is why if you have a lineup like Rohit and Virat up top, you have Sky at 3. That gives you enough flexibility to say if you want to send Hardik to hit spin, you can do that. Of course, he doesn't always hit spin. We've had a great piece from Akash where he debunks a lot of theories that we've heard about Hardik. So that is an interesting read. But Rishabh, again, starting at times has looked, off in terms of starting. We've seen in a few IPL games as well. Even yesterday, he almost got out 2-3 times to Varun Chakravarti, trying to attack him. So it's about getting that entry point right. And if you have a very strong top order who clicks every game, then it will allow them to really pace whoever they want to. You can send Shivam at 8-9 entry point. You could send Hardik at 12-13, because given how India's functioning, they're always going to rely on somebody batting deep. That is how this setup looks to me, that you don't have anybody apart from Sanju who can really come in and smash. Sanju and Shivam. So those are the 2 people you have to use very, very smartly. So he starts, he'll probably entry point should be before the 15th over. I would not want to send him after that.
All right, interesting that, because I want to ask the larger group as well, what do you guys make of India starting 11? Obviously, it's blasphemic that they've left Rinku out, and of course, Dube gets not. Does Dube walk in that potential finisher mold? And like Nick's mentioned, a very good point over there. Hopefully, it's not slot oriented, and hopefully, it's an entry point thing. And India should really take a page out of modern T20s and how it's been played. Just to, of course, reiterate, this is the squad, and this is what they've gone for. Those 4 names you can see at the bottom: Shubman Gill, Rinku Singh, Khalil Ahmed, and Avish Khan. We understand there'll be standby reserve players, whatever you want to term them as, and they won't be, of course, part of that 15. But if there is, dare I say, an injury, I'm sure they will go like for like. But that's a big breaking news. Some big calls taken by India right now. Chahal back in the scheme of things as well. And not to forget, Sanju Samson, who we all felt definitely deserves a place of someone like a KL Rahul, who was phenomenal in the ODI World Cup, but it was never going to be his piece of pie. Right. Jeet, already a couple of guys in the comments saying...
Sorry, Avnish, I have one question for both you and Akshay. Would you start with Siraj?
Personally, right now, if you tell me 1 month before the tournament started, no. But there is, of course, 4 more games, 5 more games that RCB can do. And I'm just hoping that he picks up some form. But I also feel, and I've said this a lot, Siraj is a player who's amazing for India, I feel. And when we've seen that in the World Cup, when he has his tail up, he just can go through any opposition. But for RCB, he hasn't been bowling that well. And I know Akshay threw me a stat that he threw me in the watch log yesterday about Siraj and how he's actually done well in the death. I just feel like he needs, I don't know, more like an arm around the shoulder to just get the best out of Siraj, because what we're seeing right now, Siraj in an RCB shirt, what we'll see of him in an India shirt will be different. I think Rohit will also not make him the go-to bowler. Like we've seen how Rohit, and so mentioned this as well, how Rohit doesn't have that much faith in Siraj yet. And I know Arshdeep as well has played that one World Cup. Siraj didn't play Australia. So big things, big expectations from Siraj, how he closes out, so on and so forth. But Akshay, back me up here. Do you think Siraj essentially could be a difference maker in the Caribbean on those kind of pitches?
See, one thing, like you rightly mentioned, Siraj under Bumrah is something I'll have a lot more trust over. But between the two right now, I personally, again, it might also be coming from the fact that thoda left arm angle, thoda, you need something different. And also he can move the ball. You need someone who can also move the ball. Siraj will hit those hard lengths. So given that, I feel Arshdeep will complement Bumrah a lot better than Siraj. But I'll also admit that Siraj under Bumrah would be, I won't say a whole together different proponent, but he will be a lot more lethal. And like Avnish mentioned, Siraj's numbers at the death this season have actually been surprisingly good. So that's definitely another value add that India can also sort of try to extract. But at this point in time, there's very little different separating the two. I mean, both of them have been equally woeful this IPL.
Okay, super. I was just going to get Jeet's comments on a few things, and then we'll try to get another guest on this panel. I won't tell you who it is yet, just to create some intrigue and mystique, because there was already a pelter for Jeet. Poor Jeet, I don't know what he said, but Kunal Dube not having it, saying, how is he fitting Jaiswal and Dube in the same 11?
Look, the point is, one thing is very clear. There is no RINKU SINGH, right? So the Indian squad lacks a finisher. That's the number one thing. You don't have a spin basher in the middle overs. And we have got venues in the West Indies where wind is a huge factor, right? Wind is a huge factor, and you need a spin basher in the middle order, especially a left-handed spin basher, so that you can maintain that left-hand, right-hand combination. Secondly, when it comes to T20 cricket, it is extremely vital to have an opening pair, which is righty-lefty. I know many of them kind of ignore it, but it's a huge factor, and it can really go a long way. That's why I believe that, even Hardik Pandya is actually going to primarily act as a bowling all-rounder in the absence of RINKU SINGH. There is no RINKU SINGH. You need a finisher. India is no one. So Hardik Pandya has to take over the mantle of that. So I'll have Shivam Dube, who will be in my starting 11, but he'll be used as a floater, just like CSK have used him, right? His entry points are going to be vital. If there is spin operating when a wicket falls, then it will be Dube coming in at number 4. If a wicket falls quite late after India getting a good start, and if maybe it's a 14th or 15th over, then we might see Pandya being promoted. But I believe in West Indies, with wind being a huge factor, not only is Jaiswal really important as an opener, but so is Shivam Dube in the middle order as well.
Okay, valid thoughts, that, because you got to play with what you have right now. And India have their 15, dare I say the 19, of course. And good to see some new names in the live show we're doing right now. I know plenty of people will watch it later. Don't worry, we'll put the time codes out, and that will help you in terms of what we were discussing at what point in time. Please subscribe, Tanajit. I know it was Akshay last World Cup stat, 5 matches, 3 wickets, 9 runs. And along, please, if you're jumping along on the cricket.com bandwagon, please subscribe. Justice for RINKU has been echoed right throughout. Right, time to change the view of this particular review, because we're going to make it a 5-man panel, and Som's there as well. Som, first and foremost, good to see you, man. Your first thoughts on what's been a predictable squad. Do you echo those thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, no real surprise there. A few question marks in terms of, some people were selected in the squad as compared to a few of them in the reserves. Now, I don't see an 11 where India play both Jadeja and Akshay in the same 11. And if they're not going to do it, then why have both of them in the squad? I mean, they could have had Akshay in the reserves and RINKU in the squad. Because right now, I mean, who is your finisher? Your finishers are essentially Hardik and Jadeja. And trust me, I mean, I'll be very surprised if even the management right now can put their fingers on and say, "Ki, bhai, these are our finishers," and they're gonna win games for us on current form, not just current form for the past multiple years now. There are glaring weaknesses in both of their games, and which is not ideal for finishers. I mean, you want your finishers to start hitting from at least the second or the third ball, which is not been true for both. At least Hardik, at least he tries, but Jadeja ka to hitting form and hitting pura setup, he's it's somewhere else. So that is my primary concern. The second thing is, if you're starting with Jaiswal, that means there will be no room for Dube. Let's be practical here. We know how India selects their 11. The 11 is going to look like Jaiswal, Rohit, Kohli, Sky, and then you'll have Pant, because by upar itne righties aa gaye, so you'll have to fit Pant there, and then your 6 and 7 become Hardik and Jadeja. Second point is, you have only 3 pacers in the squad. Now, most of the times, unless and until the pitch is a ranked error, they are going to play 3 pacers anyway. So that means you're going to pick everyone. So Siraj khelega ya nahi is, it's not even a debate right now. And this is where I have a concern with the squad, that you should have at least have had an extra pacer in the squad. Now, there is no 11 where you'll have both Kuldeep and Chahal. So why have Chahal in the squad? They could have easily pushed Chahal to the reserves and maybe added Khalil or any one of the pacers in the squad. So as to give them more options. Right now, jo bhi hai, unless until there is an injury, they'll have to persist with Siraj, they'll have to persist with Arshdeep. So wo thoda flexibility they have not given themselves. But easy ye hua hai ki, I mean, we can say right away ki kya 11 jaane wala hai. And I mean, it's a very imperfect squad, and something which, I mean, as of now, if you ask me, I don't think India starts favorites with this squad.
Okay, interesting. But so I want you to start this particular next chapter in this particular review, and that is, why no Rinku Singh? Because that is something that fans are pulling their hair out on Twitter. He's given us a glimpse of the future of how he can deliver in an India shirt. Fantastic numbers as well. Is it because KKR and that stupid impact player rule and him being propelled down the order, demoted rather?
This is hypocrisy in plain sight. Because of some players, you say you are not considering IPL form. If you're not considering IPL form, then Rinku Singh should be at least the second or the third member of the squad based on what he's done for India. So this is very, I mean, kitna bhi bol lo, ultimately hypocrisy to hoti hai. Kuch players hai jo they will walk into the 11 because wo karte hain. You know that Hardik Pandya, even on one leg, if he says ki he's fit, he'll play, no matter what he's done or what he has been doing. You can't even ascertain ki he will have the bowling fitness to carry the entire World Cup, but he'll be there. And this has always been the case, and that is what is very disappointing and hurtful. Ki it's not clear ki on what grounds are you selecting certain individuals. And I mean, yeah, I mean, expected tha, but now that it's out there, it just feels a little disappointing ki yaar, matlab itna lopsided squad tum kyun select kar rahe ho when you're clearly selecting a squad where batting ends at 7 and even your number 7 is a dodgy number 7. So you are just putting another World Cup out there where you're giving incentive for anchors to just anchor it around and say ki bhai humne to apna kaam kar diya, we didn't have enough match winners to win the tournament. And फिर again वही बात होगी कि भाई there are certain legends ABC, इनने तो run बनाए, they had the best World Cup, उन पे question marks क्यों? Because you are not giving them the freedom. They will किस mindset से खेलेंगे वो कि नीचे कोई है ही नहीं, तो anchor तो करना ही पड़ेगा.
Bro, but tell me if I'm wrong here, all 4 of y'all. 100% Rinku is ahead of the pecking order compared to even someone like Shivam Dube, right? Like, we would have all penciled in Rinku Singh first, don't lie, compared to Shivam Dube. But how has that happened?
See, firstly, I don't think both are competing for one spot. So that is something that you have to keep in mind.
I know. I'm just saying in terms of...
So just explaining the entry point that for Shivam, you are saying that I want him in the middle overs between 8 to 15 to just smack spin. What I want Rinku to do is Rinku to be the guy who takes care of my finishing. Now, as you know, as Somesh said, they've picked Gill also in the reserves. On what form? And on which form? IPL form also not been that good. Since 2023, he has an average of 25 odds, striking 140. So how is Gill getting picked in, even in reserves for that matter? So the logic that you see, you can't print out, okay, one logic for this guy, one logic for that guy, one logic for this guy, one logic for that guy. That doesn't make any sense. So with Shivam, I'm happy that he's playing, but again, as Somesh said, it's about where they pick him. जायसवाल को खिलाओगे तो शिवम को खिलाने का जगह नहीं बचेगा, और तुम शिवम को खिलाओगे तो तुम बोलेगे actually what they could do is, we want a left hander now, let's play Pant for Shivam, let Pant come in, but That is not Pant's job. That is not Pant is what Pant is better at. So it is just baffling in terms of how Rinku, the one guy who we've discovered since the last few World Cups is Rinku Singh. And now he is only not playing. So sometimes it just makes you question even the bilaterals that do they even have a line of thought that this is what we want to do? Everything is very haphazard. कि अभी के लिए देख लो, अभी कौन available है? ये available है, इसको खिला लो. World Cup का बाद में देखिए. So as Som said, the entire point comes down to the intent. If you know your 4, 5, 6 are going to be Pant, Hardik, and Jadeja, or 5, 6, 7, what confidence is it going to give to the top 3 that go and hit? Because they haven't been informed. If they are informed, it's a better selection. You can even think, okay, no Rinku, ठीक है, चल जाएगा because Hardik is hitting well, because Jadeja is hitting well. That is not the case. And there is no impact player के भाई, oh, if you mess up, let's just call someone, he'll take care of that stuff. It's just baffling, bro.
Akshay, let me ask you this. The fact that we've been talking about India's 11, Som just absolutely got right in terms of the India 7 that they'll name. And let's be fair, guys, they will pick that 11 where he said it's Rohit, Jaiswal, Kohli, Sky at 4. They'll have to accommodate a left-hander, so they'll panic and they'll put Pant in there, then Hardik, and then Jadeja. So that's the bones out of it, right? But then on the contrary, we as fans, Akshay, you, me, Som, Jeet, and Nikhil here want Samson and Dube in that 11. We're agreeing with that. So how the hell can the team management force them in? Somehow, somewhere. Who misses out? And the fact is they've named Hardik Pandya as vice captain. So you're going to throw him in as well. So he starts. And I know, okay, fine, he's the only rare breed where he bowls pace and he can balance it out. But I don't know, bro. I feel like Samson and Dube are just going to be carrying drinks in the fucking West Indies. Sorry for my French.
I mean, to begin with, at the very least, I hope that, Samson, gets a nod ahead of Pant. And they don't fall into the trap. I know, I understand that left hand, right hand thoda kam karta hai, but let them not fall into that when it comes to Samson and Pant, because Pant, again, he's yet to prove it, ki boys, matlab, he's sort of completely back to, full tilt when it comes to playing. And again, in case people have forgotten, Pant's T20I record isn't the greatest any which ways. So there's very little merit to having Pant start, for India ahead of Samson. So at least that's one thing.
But then, if they do choose Pant, Samson in that regard, but then they'll say, oh yeah, again our top top 6 are right-handers, right?
See, if there's 6 good right-handers, you have to make do with it. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't, like, for the sake of it, tum khali fokad kyun left-hander ghusaoge just for the sake of it.
These 3 World Cups, all of us have discussing the same thing. 3 World Cups.
Exactly.
Actually, that is what is so disappointing and lame about the entire exercise. कि भाई मतलब वो आज भी कुछ नहीं बदला, सब वैसा का वैसा ही है. तो
आज में in terms of selection also.
Yeah. So it just seems. You can actually predict how this World Cup is going to go, to be honest. Group stage बहुत आसान है. उसके बाद the main competition starts, and on it, when India are put under pressure where everyone has to hit. See, all of us know that even the best of players, if you actually get the selection spot on, you can't match the firepower that England, Australia, and South Africa are possessing right now. And if on a given eliminator they have their power hitters come to the fore, then even the best of the players that India can field won't be able to match that. और अभी तो तुमने best select भी नहीं किए. तो it is set up for failure. Let's see. I will be happy if they prove all of us wrong.
Yeah. No, just bold ना so 1 second. So just say ना that they'll get knocked out in the group stage.
इस बार मेरा jinx काम भी नहीं करेगा, बता रहा हूँ ना मैं, क्योंकि यार थोड़ा कुछ merit तो होना चाहिए ना उसमें.
Oh, but Somesh's jinx have been working like magic, at least in the last World Cup. You guys know, More comments to take. Lovely to see all you guys jump in on this very impromptu live show, like I just said. And we'll be here for a little bit while longer because I have a paddle game at 5 p.m, guys. But can they accommodate Chahal over Siraj? Given the conditions, Chahal and Kuldeep, Bumrah and Arshdeep, those are your 4 bowlers. Hardik is your 5th.
Yeah,
Why
so
not?
I have a lineup that I feel India should play, even if it's holding up or spinning. So Virat and Rohit open, Sky 3, Samson, Shivam, Hardik make up the middle order because that is taken care of. So Hardik is at 6 now. 7 you can pick blindly, Jadeja, Akshay, Joe. You can fight between Avnish and Akshay, whoever you want to pick. Then Kuldeep, Bumrah, Arshdeep and Chahal. Because you will need that option. It gives you 5 bowling options. You can roll Shivam also. Roll Shivam, use Shivam to roll an over or 2. So
Roll
that's
Shivam
the only way you have. You can't roll Shriram Dube. But so you'll have 6 bowling options and 6 decent ones. So I think 2-3 pacers there, Bumrah, Asdeep and Hardik, and 3 spinners on Kuldeep, Chahal and Jadeja. This is the only thing that is the middle ground if it's a slow day.
I just have two thoughts on what Nikhil is saying. On for all practical purposes, it makes sense. The issue here is this will depend on Hardik's bowling form, because as a captain, from whatever we have seen, no captain wants just 2 pace options in their 11, because come to the death overs, all numbers would say that spinners are as good as pacers, if not better. But फिर भी death over में captain को दिखते pacers ही है. कुछ भी हो जाए, बिश्नोई हो, कुछ भी हो, they're okay if Mukesh Kumar gets hits for 25, but they won't be okay कि Bishnoi has gone for 20. They'll still want कि नहीं भाई मैं मुकेश को ही दूंगा, because historically that is the case. Death over मतलब pace. So this is where I think there will be question marks. अगर if Hardik is not a 4-over bowler, then Rohit will be uncomfortable कि भाई 2 pacer से कैसे काम चलेगा. So that rules out Chahal. The second thing is, I personally am not very convinced about Rohit Kohli opening together, because it just makes the opposition, it makes it very easy for the opposition, because you can't change the way Kohli plays. He will put a price on his wicket, and this is not a format where you put a price on your wicket. And you need someone who at least utilizes the power play, because you're missing out on firepower later on. And I don't think these two together is the answer. I think India has to start with Jaiswal, because बाद में तुम्हें पता है कि there is firepower missing. You need someone who at least who gives you the best option of utilizing the power play. And I don't think Rohit Kohli together is the best option in terms of utilizing the power play. Especially when they know कि पीछे batting नहीं है and they have to bat through. At least one of them has to bat through.
No, just 2 points in that. First, about the Hardik Pandya bowling form, I generally feel whatever form he goes into that World Cup with, they'll still make him a 3-over/4-over bowler. I don't think Rohit for 1 second in that World Cup will start doubting his main man, his vice captain. So no matter what form Hardik Pandya is possessing with the ball right now in the IPL, he'll still bowl 3 or 4 overs, guaranteed from my perspective. Maybe the odd over to Dube. With Rohit and Kohli, I've been advocating they should open so. I'll tell you where I feel it's different here. Obviously, Rohit's going to be the intent merchant that he was in the World Cup, and we need that to a certain degree. And he's going to give you 12-ball 27s, 13-ball 30s, which is needed. But given the team that we're all agreeing upon, with the firepower in the middle, with Surya, and of course, if they play Samson and Dube, it'll be a bonus. Then I feel Kohli can be that glue where he bats through the 20 overs, because you need also someone who can just be the glue. And I'm not saying that from a Kohli fanboy lens, but I'm just saying
fine. I mean, he can do that job at 3 as well. Why put him in the power play? See, I just feel कि अगर उनको if Jaiswal was not in, see, I feel if Jaiswal was not in their 11, they wouldn't have picked him in the squad. Simple as that. Because there is no reason. ऐसा नहीं है कि Jaiswal is a very senior pro और उसने कुछ इतना ज़्यादा ऐसा कुछ किया है कि भाई वो तो squad में तो रखना ही रखना है. ऐसा नहीं है. I mean, obviously he had a great test series, but he's not someone who's been carrying a lot of credit in the bank कि squad में तो होना ही चाहिए. They clearly have identified कि भाई they need someone who's a lefty up top who can hit and who's being spanking international level bowlers at that level for a while now. So they have that comfort factor. Rohit has seen Jaiswal from close quarters for a while now. So I'm just coming from that perspective, and I don't see them changing. And बस मुझे बस ये लगता है यार, रोहित कोहली बैटिंग टुगेदर ओपनिंग सीधे कोई भी लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर डाल दो, शुरू के 2-1 ओवर तो वैसे भी निकल जाएंगे, एंड देन इंडिया ऑलरेडी आर स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम अ नेगेटिव पोजीशन कि भाई अब आगे के 18 ओवर्स मुझे कैपिटलाइज करने.
Okay, guys, where do you stand in this? Akshay, who are your openers?
No, it's going to be Rohit and Jaiswal. I completely agree with Somesh there. अगर Jaiswal 11 में नहीं होता तो there's absolutely no reason उसको भी गिल की तरह या गिल के बदले traveling reserves में ही रखते. And again, so many things to answer there. In terms of
what is the main bone of contention there? Left, right, with Jaiswal being thrown in, would they factor in, like what Jeet said, the fact that Virat has just been a god at number 3 in World Cups?
And yeah, I wouldn't put that against them or hold that against them, because Kohli has batted at number 3 for India, period. He's never opened for them. So they're just sort of, maintaining that continuity. The top 3 for India in the Afghanistan series, at least the last T20 when Rohit Sharma actually played, was Rohit, Jaiswal, Kohli, and that was always going to be the case. It was us sort of indulging in a bit of wishful thinking कि boss Rohit Kohli अगर open कर लेंगे तो it solves a lot of problems. But really India have stuck to what they wanted to do pre-IPL, so I wouldn't put that against them. ठीक है, so it's Rohit Jaiswal to open and Kohli at 3 and Sky at 4.
Yeah, and one more thing is, if Kohli is at 3, India can be flexible with his position. Because if they lose an early wicket, then Kohli walks in right away. If they have a good power play, then maybe they can promote someone else. And if they have a good power play and Kohli comes in at 3, he can actually play freely. Because ऐसा नहीं है कि उसके पास गेयर नहीं है. 2-4 बार उसको सोशल मीडिया मैसेजेस पढ़ाने पड़ेंगे कि भाई तुम्हारे स्ट्राइक रेट पे क्वेश्चन मार्क आ रहे हैं. But you know that once he reads those messages, then he has. I mean, obviously he's one of the best batters of this generation without a doubt. So he has those gears, he has those shots. So Kohli at 3 is, for me, I'm a lot more comfortable just because he would know what situation he's walking in. If he walks in as an opener, then maybe there will be a question mark कि मैं क्या करूं? Should I go for it or should I wait and watch? Or there can be games where wait and watch might not be an option because opposition is already filled in with so many hitters.
Okay, Jeet, where do you stand in this? Because often fans, when they're debating discussions like this, especially with the Virat, Rohit and Jaiswal and who's going to open, there are a few things which come to mind. First is the fact that do you expose your two best batters, arguably, or whatever, at the top of the order? Do you kind of have them kind of come in slightly lower, at least Virat, because you don't want to kind of, again, like I said, expose them? Or would you just go with that Simon Dool theory, which is like your best batters have to bat at the top, have to maximize the power play? And form-wise, Virat and Rohit to a fair margin has been pretty decent.
They are. I mean, I don't see how India needs to change their top 4. It's a top 4 that has worked really well. I think people are getting carried away by the fact that Kohli has done really good as an opener for RCB, whereas that doesn't need to be the case. Kohli has been tremendous at number 3 for India in the World Cups. Someone like Surya Kumar has been tremendous at number 4 for India in the World Cups or for India overall in T20s. So the top 4 remains consistent. Rohit Jaiswal, continuous openers, right hand, left hand. Kohli at number 3, Sky at number 4. The question is what comes after that, right? You've got Sanju Samson, who's a very good striker against pace, against spin. So I believe he should be the starter with Pant acting as his backup, right? You should have Shivam Dube coming at number 6, another guy who has done really well against pace. And you already know him as a spin hitter, but over the last 2 years, he's done really well against pace. So you have Sanju Samson at number 5, Shivam Dube at number 6. That's again right hand, left hand, both of whom are really capable against pace and against spin. Now, Hardik Pandya at number 7. You have no other choice. Like I mentioned before, without Rinku Singh, there is no other option that India has got. So Hardik Pandya has to walk in and do the role of a finisher. That basically means that India will be slightly weak as far as the bowling attack is concerned, specifically the pace options. But I've also seen some like Shivam Dube having started rolling his arm over in the nets for CSK. So I'm potentially looking at Hardik Pandya and Shivam Dube playing that fifth bowler's role, and they'll be sharing that quota of 4 overs, which I believe is not bad. I know everybody's aggrieved about Rinku Singh not being involved, which is quite fair as well. Now, how KKR has utilized him, I believe, has played a bit of a part with their top order firing really well. Rinku Singh's role has been very, very limited, right? We have also seen him being used as an impact player. And now I believe there has been a bit of an injury concern because of the reason he has not been on the field whenever they have been bowling, right? So not only has he played limited role as a batter or as a finisher, he's not been on the field as well because of that slight side strain is what I've heard. So without Rinku, I feel India's top 7 is well set. And I believe that is something they should be backing. Again, I don't know how the conditions are going to play in the West Indies. If they continue to be the way they were, where spin plays a bit of a part, then I believe India have a really good batting attack as well. I know many of you won't agree, but I do see this as a fairly strong squad to at least make it to the finals. Clip it if you want to, but I do feel it's a very promising squad, even without Rinku Singh, because I can visualize why it's going to work. That middle order is really good with Samson, Dube and Pandya.
We're going to win the fucking competition.
Yeah, I mean, but the only aspect is the best of Pandya should turn up. The point is India cannot have the out of form Pandya. That is the biggest question mark right now. Of course, if he turns up, good, handy 2-3 over bowlers, he'll go for runs. But he should be picking wickets. He'll go for runs all the time because, he's that kind of a bowler. He'll give the batters the room and back of length. Ki, bhai, tum maro mujhe, but I'll get you out.
Okay,
See, the
fine.
only
Super.
challenge with that lineup is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It has Hardik and Akshay or Jadeja as the 4-over bowler.
Yeah.
So eventually, it's a call between whether you want that extra batting depth and compromise के 3 bowler के बाद उस 3 bowler में भी एक ही bowler है जिसपे you can trust blindly कि he'll know the conditions and adapt. So it's eventually that whether you want to defend 210 with RCB type bowling attack or you want to score 230 with a very different kind of bowling attack. So eventually, one risk has to be taken.
No, 100%. I was just going to conclude by saying, guys, I just want your opinion on two things. One is where will India finish? I know Jeet and me have kind of had our predictions already, but honestly, so we can make it for our social media plugs. And first and foremost, I wanted all of y'all to tell me 3 players who've been terribly unlucky to miss out for the Indian team. The squad, 15, could be anyone. I'll start. I'll say Rinku, Natarajan, and Sandeep Sharma.
I would say Rinku, Bishnoi, and again in backup you could have had anybody instead of Gill. So the third batter there.
Okay. Akshay?
For me, it's Rinku, Bishnoi, and Natarajan.
Som?
KL, Ashwin and Ajinkya Rahane.
मेरे को 100% था ये केएल का नाम आएगा इसके लिए मैंने बैकअप ओपनर बोला.
But Ajinkya Rahane, wow. Nice.
Jeet, it'll be apt if you say DK Tala and I don't know, Mohit Sharma.
No, I wouldn't go that road. I won't travel that road, that's for sure. But I believe Sandeep
Yeah, DK would be gutted actually. If you really ask him, he would be gutted.
I mean, he'll be gutted, sure. We'll also sympathize with him, but that doesn't. वो
Practical नहीं था वो.
हाँ वही इसीलिए बस.
But
Yeah,
lots of
Jeet, you were
questions.
saying something. Actually.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So my 3 names will be Rinku Singh, Sandeep Sharma, and Uttaraj Gaikwad as a backup over Shubman Gill.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Introspect saying Sachin Sehwag Ganguly. Don't we all love that? Guys, it's been a riveting sort of chat. This 42 minutes odd. Go check it out on different platforms as well. We're available on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit as well, if you guys are into that. Just to finish off on an absolute high, predictions then. Where will this Indian team finish? Will they be holding the World Cup, Somesh? Roko, can you stop them?
I think India's chances are directly proportional to Jaiswal's tournament. Because he's someone who's not carrying any scars. He has the game. He has the game to just keep on going for it. And he's that kind of a player right now who can actually bat long and bat quick as well. So I don't care what happens up till the semi-finals and finals. It's those 2 days that are going to count. And if Jaiswal can have 2 good days, I think India would be able to cross the line. But I somehow this is just my gut feeling. I feel it will be directly proportional to what he delivers. Because if he fails, then it will just everything would go into that spiral कि अब क्या करें, मारे या रुकें, बड़ा गेम है, पार तो बना ही लेते हैं.
I know you said semi-finals and finals, but there's an important group game, small matter of playing Pakistan. What's your prediction that early one? Do you think India will win that, right?
I think for things to change in India cricket, India should start losing to Pakistan. Because if we keep winning to Pakistan, everything will be like, सब बहुत बढ़िया है, at least we are beating Pakistan, so nothing needs to change.
Okay, do you agree with the lad here, Akshay?
I mean, I'm expecting India to be in the top 4, especially after seeing the England squad, though even more so. So I'm guessing India, Australia, South Africa. I'm really looking forward to seeing South Africa, and I'll just throw West Indies in for some reason. मतलब लग तो रहा है उनका अच्छा top order, मतलब batting काफी तगड़ा है उनका, and घर के conditions है. So that'll be my top 4. So India would make the top 4. Top 4 में भी क्या होगा, semis और finals में तो यार it's hard to predict. So on that day क्या होगा?
And they'll beat Pakistan.
I expect what Somesh had predicted earlier ना कि ऐसा ही कहीं मतलब 50 for 5, 40 for 4 ऐसा वाला situation होगा और खत्म खल्लास.
What, against Pakistan?
No, I'm talking about the playoffs, मतलब knockout game, semis or finals. India Pakistan क्या होगा, क्या stadium तो बनने दो पहले, पता तो चले कहाँ खेल रहे, क्या खेल रहे, कौन खेल रहा है. पाकिस्तान का स्क्वाड मतलब
आईसीसी वालों ने भी रिस्पॉन्ड करना बंद कर दिया है कि वो एक्यूरेट दे भी रहे हैं या नहीं दे रहे. 20 दिन बचे हैं, तो लाइक देखते हैं. अभी हमको भी नहीं पता कि प्रेस बॉक्स भी बना रहे हैं हम या नहीं बना रहे.
इसीलिए.
And next, you next.
Yeah, I think they should find a way to make it into the top 2 as well. But I just hope they are happy to lose to win. If they're happy to lose, they're happy to risk to lose, then they will win. So to quote Shane Warne, do well, be happy to lose, and then you can win. If not,
Squad देख के
same
लगता
goes.
नहीं है they'll be happy to lose to win. Just
They are happy to lose actually. Squad देख के लगता है कि they are happy to lose. तो वैसे सोच भाई.
Jeet, I know you said final, and do you think we'll beat Pakistan as well in the group stage?
I do. I don't know what kind of squad they're going to pick. Let's say they're going to continue with Babar and Rizwan both in the top order, and then it should be India's game, that's for sure.
Babar and Sam Ayub.
Yeah, same way.
Sam
No,
Ayub.
but if Rizwan continues, then, well, they'll have the same issues.
100%. By the way, lots of questions also fire it into us right now. We'll just take a couple just to make you all happy. Rohit Daga saying, can you tell me what excellent performance Rohit and Jaiswal have done in IPL T20 in the last 2 years that Gill couldn't do? Akshay,
to begin with, Avnish, the surname is Dagar. Once
Dagar,
again.
man, I said Dagar.
Dagar. No,
I said Dagar.
You did.
Dagar. But one
Anyways.
second. So this is obviously a Shubman Gill fan here. Can you tell him off politely? Be nice, guys.
Nikhil has numbers not to back the argument up.
So from 2022 is what I was looking at. 2023, sorry. So Shubman Gill's numbers since that time is 14 games, average of 25, strike at 147. So that is what it is. Jaiswal is far more better. Average be better at 33 ka, strike rate be 160 ka. So definitely he's done better there. And Baki Rohit is your skipper. Just hit a fresh off a century against Afghanistan as well. So I don't think you're doubting that.
After 2 ducks, but yeah. ठीक है.
Ooh, digs. Digs indeed. And
Yeah, I mean-
Nitro, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Sorry, go on.
नहीं ठीक है. We can move ahead.
We can move ahead. One question saying, why no Rituraj? Sandeep Jeet added him in his 3 unlucky players. He should have at least been there, part of the 19, if not the 15 indeed. And one good question to end proceedings over here is Priyanshu Tiwari. Guys, what do you think if Jaiswal means you open with him? Such a muddle playing 11 means we want to have bigger hitters in the middle order. We spoke about it. Go revisit the chat, and I think all the boys have given their permutations and combinations, and we've also spoken about various things. I took your comment, Abbas. What are you talking about? Anyway, catch the boys in the watch along tomorrow. There's no watch along today. Happy birthday, Rohit Sharma. What a day to, of course, to year wiser, get the captain to lead the World Cup again. Only time will tell if you can finish it off by scoring 100 against LSG. We'll bring you all the coverage of it on the live blog on cricket.com. Just go check that out. Thank you so much, Akshay, Nikhil, and Jeet for this one. It's time to say goodbye, and hopefully India win the World Cup.